It's nice being up. What's up, a living classroom?
Such a fun that just need that.
This year, and I know Cincinnati's had issues with that as well. Cleveland certainly with the Josh Gordons and all of that. That hasn't been as much of a problem. Of wondering what.
I learned way years, 2 seasons in one. I did
because you were coaching at Redlands, right?
University of Redlands.
That's right.
Volunteered there, and then my high school coach, his quarterback coach had an incident with a kid, and he had to suspend him. And he could pay me huge amount, $2,000, big money, right?
For the whole year,
right? So I did the high school practices from 2 to 4. Went over to the university practices 4 to 6. High school games Friday night, take the film off Saturday morning. Saturday night was the University of Redlands game. Sunday, take that film off. So I got 2 seasons in one under 2 really famous coaches of their level. And I learned from my high school coach, Paul Womack, wonderful man. He says it's amazing when a player is doing well, he's our student. But when he messes up, he's my player. And that's the perspective, the faculty, and it's everything. When he messes up, hey, your player did so-and-so. And even though he's still the student, he's our student either way. And it's, there's only so much. But there again, you're going to be held accountable for the environment that you create and the players that you are going to bring into your organization. Some with a background, some not. That's always the toughest thing for an organization is, do I want to take a chance on a young man? When I take a young man at 21 years old, and what he doing? Is that an example of his character, or just the fact that I've always said young and stupid is one word. It's not hyphenated, okay? We've all been young and stupid. So is this just young people being young and stupid like we all were, or is this truly an example of his character and someone I shouldn't have in my organization?
Hey, Coach Brian Billy joining us. We are at Greenmount Station in Carroll County. Beautiful Hampstead up here having fun. I always appreciate coming up here like November, December because I love the Christmas lights. We don't get that action down in the city, man.
And
everybody
the Christmas
out
tree
here.
farm. I used to live up
right
this
here.
way. Oh, it's fabulous.
Right down the street.
Oh, yeah.
I always say I pick my produce up on the way up to Hampstead. I know it's growing right down the street. It's really local. It's not like shipped
Sweet
in.
corn and tomatoes. We saw it on the way
I
up
haven't
today.
had any good sweet corn yet.
I
I've
did.
had great peaches.
Come over to the Eastern Shore. We got a lot of great
sweet corn. This
sweet
woman looked at me like, what? I'm waiting for my first good ear of corn. Now, I've got some great peaches. I've got great, not good. I'm talking like a 10 that you can only get this time of year. I need Silver Queen. I got heirloom tomatoes. You're on the Eastern Shore, man. You're spoiled over there.
It's over there. You can in one stop you can get sweet corn, the great tomatoes. I got some peaches and a Smith Island cake.
Smith Island. You like all those layers in there.
It was awesome.
You're big into the chocolate, aren't you?
It was awesome.
I'm a cantaloupe guy too this time.
Oh yeah, watermelon.
Cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe's not as good. Watermelons, outstanding.
You don't like cantaloupe?
I love cantaloupe, but they're not real good right now.
You got to get the right farm, man.
Well,
you got to get the
right
irrigation or something going.
You can tell I'm an Eastern Shore guy. We're talking produce.
Well, I know you know food, but let's go back to football here. The Rams, and look, I went out there in March to see Springsteen, and I saw Ram stuff being sold here and there and whatever. I think it's a brilliant move on the outside, and sure. Whatever the Chargers and the Raiders and the Rams, and I think it sucks that the Rams got stolen pretty much from St. Louis. It sucks that the owner drove the team to the side of the road, made it stink bad enough that nobody came. He pulled the team out of his home state. There's a very warm place in hell for Stan Kroenke for doing that. I think that's my feeling about it. As we stole a football team here, and I have different feelings about that. But for the Rams, I don't know if it's going to be successful from the league standpoint, but them getting a stadium built out there and the notion that one day these crazy Olympics will wind up in L.A. and the stadium would be a part of that, and it's going to be Jerry's Stadium in Dallas, but bigger, more updated, and drop down 3 miles from the LAX airport, right? I mean, you know that area well. Give me your perspective on not having a football team there for all the years you coached, for the most part. There were very few times you did a road trip in L.A., maybe in the beginning of your career, Denny, but you didn't play games in L.A. for most of your lifetime.
I'm from Los Angeles, and it's funny. I'm just now not making the mistake of just, oh, yeah, absolutely, and Jack Snow, and, that was my team. And when they left, it's time, and obviously I'm moving on, so it's not like I was still living there. and that transition obviously into so they were always going to be LA Rams to me, and I think they'll be well received. But it is LA, and yeah, they're going to be excited the first year, but you got to win. And Jeff Fisher gets a new lease on life, and that's great because hadn't had a winning season yet in St. Louis, but now it's like getting a new start. They got a new quarterback. And I think they'd made the right choice. I don't know if Jared Goff is going to be the right guy or not, but I think taking a quarterback was a good move because when you start anew, and it's like they're starting anew.
Twice, and maybe one time I ask you this, but I want you to wax me. This isn't going to be a stock answer from you, but you grew up in Redlands. It's not Redlands, although I obviously don't say it like a local. Right? Redlands. So
Rams used to train there back there in the 50s, early 60s. Used to train at the University of Redlands.
What year were you born?
1954. I'm old.
So do you remember them training there
No,
when you were a little boy going there?
No. I was too young. We didn't move there until 1960. I'm not sure when they left, but I don't remember. It's not like I went going to practice and signing and all that kind of stuff.
So as I sit here in Carroll County and I see my first memories with the Colts, I see Mike Curtis over here on the wall, and I've seen Unitas around the corner, and the things that I grew up with around here. And Burt Jones was my first guy. Roger Carr was my first guy. What made you fall in love with football? Because your old man wasn't a football guy, right? He wasn't a sports guy at all.
No, he was a test pilot.
And I guess when you're growing up where you are, and it's not really L.A. proper, right? It's like sort of east and south and east, right? Kind of.
It's actually due west. Excuse me, due east. Due west, we'd have been on the water.
Yeah.
Due east,
Catalina.
where you go through Redlands on the way up to Palm Springs before you get into the low desert. And I've been asked that question before, but you got to remember in Redlands, my high school was 4,000 students.
Huge.
Graduating class was like 1,000. We'd have 9,000 people at our games. It was just the one high school.
But when did you discover it? When you were 8 or 10, or when you got tall, or if your dad didn't love it and you didn't go to Rams games and were all that?
Yeah, you know what? My teams were the Rams and the Vikings, oddly enough. So it was real thrilled for me to go back to I don't know whether it was the helmet and Fran Tarkington, whatever. I don't know whether it was the physicality of the game. I was kind of a big kid. I wasn't real tall, but I was a kid.
Look, I wouldn't recognize you.
Well, you can look at my grandson because my second grandson looks just like me when I was a little kid.
Good-looking kid.
A good-looking kid.
Right.
But boy, he's a 2-pound sausage and a 1-pound wrapper. Don't tell my daughter I said that.
I'm texting her right now.
But I can say that.
Aubrey's making fun of his grandchildren.
Harrison looks just like me. But then obviously being interested in the game, loving the game, and then being in an environment where high school football was king, and the coach was legendary, and we'd won like 13 straight.
But what made you walk onto the field? Were you an 8th grader, 9th grader? Did you ever play any Pop Warner?
No, I was too big.
What was the first day you walked and had a helmet on your head?
Junior high school in 9th grade because I was too big to play Pee Wee football or Pop Warner. Weight, they have weight limitations.
Right. I had to spit in the cup when I was a kid. Yeah. I know about that.
And then, so my 9th grade year was the first year, and by that time I started to get some real height, really in my 8th grade year.
So 9th grade year, you're about 67, 68. So that is sort of Roman Gabriel.
Yeah. No, it would have been. I graduated in 72, so yeah, you're talking 68, 69, and started as never had happened before. Started as a sophomore on a high school football.
What did you play?
Free safety.
Free safety.
Remember, I still hold the California interception record. Not throwing interceptions.
We have a listener, Mike Fleischauer, comes out and he always brings
that up
because he went to Redlands.
Yeah.
And he always says we went to the same high school, and he said you're the record holder.
And that was at a time when they didn't throw the ball that much. So when you prorate it, it's pretty darn good.
Well, I know what I loved about sports, and my early sports, remember 72, 73, 74, and it was my dad. My dad loved the Colts, he loved the Orioles, and that was the only thing I knew. So we went. But if your dad doesn't love it, it's. Did you have friends that sort of play ball?
Sure.
Because I'm thinking
playing in the yard.
I'm thinking Deacon Jones and
sure.
Merlin Olsen, and those were the guys that
Roman Gabriel, because I was tall and I was going to be a quarterback, so I was going to be Roman Gabriel. And I remember I give my high school coach great credit because I was so focused on football I wasn't going to do anything else. And yet here I was 6'4", 6'5". I had to play basketball. We had an undefeated basketball team in junior high, and so I don't even think I'm going to go to play basketball. And so now that basketball coach is ticked off. Well, we didn't even know you could make our team. Okay, that's cool because I'm not going to play. So I go to the weight room the day after the last game, and my head football coach going, "You're going to play basketball?" No, coach, I'm going to go. What makes you think this is a conversation? okay? I'm telling you, you're going to go play basketball. So I go, and the guy, oh, well, we'll see. And then 3 days later, I'm starting for him. So, but it was a good move. It was smart for me to do that. And
Kept you in shape.
Yeah, sure. And it just continued to develop skills and that type of thing. So
Kept you out of trouble, too.
Yeah, I was a real trouble guy. Yeah, you could tell that.
You've never been in trouble, have you?
Yeah, didn't smoke, didn't drink. Didn't have my first cup of coffee until I was 25. Didn't have my first beer until I was 22. How about that?
What makes you so much fun now, then?
Because I do all that stuff.
Getting it all out of your system. Head coach Brian Billick out here. We're talking, I'm going to save this for the last. We'll step out. We'll take a break. Carl Delmont's out with Fremont Mortgage. Want to thank him for the sponsorship tonight, as well as especially for those 2 crab cakes. I'll have 2 to go. Thank you very much. We'll put those in the fridge, and I'll be eating those later on in the week. Appreciate everybody coming out here tonight. We'll step out. We'll take a break. We're going to come back out, and we're going to talk about Denny Green and talk about the 2016 Baltimore Ravens with our head coach, Brian Billick. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. Back for more in Carroll County right after this. Towson, Baltimore, and WN.